true definition of horn is a Trini man.
My definition of horn is, as long as you're emotionally involved with the person, that is horn. Text message, time, especially time, because time is money, and whatever social media platforms. Not just physical attributes. That's my definition of it.
Horning is when your significant other basically having some sort of affair or some sort of connection with somebody else behind your back without you know it. I think that's my definition of horn.
Horning is sexual relations, whether you're married or not, someone else, even if you have a partner.
I do horn, me know a lot more horning. That don't exist in my books.
In Trinidad, there's a word for it. Horn. A joke, a scandal, a way of life. It's whispered in gossip, sung in calypso, and laughed about over rum. But beneath the laughter lies something deeper. A cultural phenomenon shaped by history, love, and betrayal. How did horning become so embedded in our identity?
I have been, I'm sure more than once. To be honest, it felt really bad because, you know, it's a kind of like a betrayal. So you're thinking that this person and you 100 one-on-one, and then you get to find out, then it's like, that wasn't the case. He was working earlier that day, so he was real tired. So by the time I reached over the road, he was sleeping. But lo and behold, he was sleeping with his phone in his hand. So, but when I checked, his phone was like on WhatsApp. So, I watch it, I say, nah, the main thing I realize the WhatsApp open. So I say, okay. I walk off once, I walk off twice, I say, all right, whatever. So, I went in the phone and I checked the phone. So he had a conversation open. So it was with the particular girl. So when I went in the phone, I see, well, big conversations, I see pictures and things. So I was like, oh, so there's what it is. So basically, I just wake him up, what really going on? And he was still denying it. And I said, but like, look the pictures, look, conversation here, the girl professing she loved you. For me, when I find out about it, I put out a post on Facebook. How it more in like the lines was like something like so, or everybody else know I was getting horn and nobody tell me nothing.
I believe that infidelity came in because there was a lack of acceptance on both parties in my life. And I believe that's how we allow things to, you know, escalate into something even bigger than we thought was just probably something small. Men, we sometimes are supposed to take certain things and not passionately show emotions, or probably not supposed to, you know, react a certain way towards certain situations. And as a man that, you know, changed my life and now actually wanting to do the right things, my emotional side is now different to how it was before. So I genuinely seek genuine love today. And because of seeking genuine love, you will expect to receive genuine love in return. Men do have emotions, right? And we do have feelings as well. And just as a woman, she may go through a hurt, she may go through, you know, that situation. Men go through it too. As men, I believe that there's a double standard because there's so many platforms where females, you know, or women I don't know if it's because women are just more bold in expressing their emotions or their situations. But I had a recent situation, it wasn't a secret. I came out and did my testimony. I was actually on the verge of getting a divorce. And I came out and, tell my testimony. And I do want to lie, is like my inbox was filled. And what surprised me the most, it was actually a lot of men. Men were actually reaching out. And it's like there was a secret hurting on the inside where men, they were just looking for that safe space to speak out. So I believe it's an unfair, culture on behalf of the men, because the facilities are there. I mean, the platforms are there. Even churches may reach out faster to the women rather to the men. So I mean, again, I hope that this is an avenue for us to start new things where probably, a facility for men to recover. But also even I also am a minister of the gospel as well too. And we have, men in our ministry. And many times we try to create this men group, right? It's still there, but there was somehow always, a blockage of men expressing their emotions. So again, I want to stand on both sides of the spec that us men, we need to also come down from there and actually start opening up, right? Not trying to show any weaker sides, but we need to start to accept that, hey, I think this is an avenue or a part in our life that we need some sort of support, because we don't want to hear suicide, or we don't want to hear jail, or we don't want to hear these things. But what are we putting in place for not hearing or don't wanting to hear these said things happen?
It happened more than once, twice with one person and twice with the next. But my first time, I was shocked, definitely shocked. I was in Form 6, lower 6, and that was my first boyfriend ever, my first real relationship. And when I found out, I was in school, like in the school premises, and the girl actually came up to me. She told me it was his ex. Why? Like, I mean, she was always very bad mind, so I kind of excused it the first time. But that first time, like, that was my first heartbreak, for real, for real. I don't think I ever cried that much until that day. I forgave him because I kind of just blamed it on his immaturity. And I mean, I don't want to bring this into it, but I'm a Libra, and Libras feel like they could fix people. So I felt like, okay, he did it once, he saw that I was down bad, so he's not going to do it again. 2 years later, he did it again. So yeah, and I actually forgave him the second time also, but then I eventually left the relationship because I wasn't happy and I couldn't respect him as much as I respected him before. And well, the other person, I don't want to talk about the other person, but it was terrible. I do admit that I gained a lot of trust issues from the first time, but I'm a hopeless romantic, so I'm somebody who believes in like second chances, or I also like believe in like letting people start on a clean slate and whatever. So yes, it gave me trust issues, but at the same time, I try to give people like a grace period. I don't judge them from like, social media also makes it a lot more easier to for infidelity, because you're meeting people online.
So it does have a huge part to play, especially in this day and age.
This one is very easy because, like I said, social media now has become like Amazon. It's like you're online and you want to choose what you want to buy, what shoes you want to bring in, what clothes you want to bring in, what microwave or whatever it is you're shopping for. It's at your fingertip. Shopping It might sound bad, but you can shop and find a woman online. And when I say shop, I don't mean that you're going to purchase a woman, but you can actually go through social media, see what she likes, see how she looks, watch at every angle, just like you're going to swipe across and watch at any shoe you're going to purchase online and say, hey, what's going on? Let me try and see if I could get this shoe. You pop in the DM and it's easy. Not like long time. You had to go and walk and you had to go by Miss Janice yard to talk to she daughter and this thing. So it's too easy. Social media made it too easy. I could sit down right now and talk to a woman in Japan unless she leaves her family and come down here to have sex. So that is how easy it is.
I mean, social media, it connects the world, I must say. You know, like a long time before we had the little Me Too. Now, it's so easy to connect to people anywhere all over the world that it just had to reach out your hand, you know, you see somebody post something, you comment in your inbox, you know. So it's just easily accessible to gain anybody, get somebody attention before you had a page or a beeper. Now, you post a picture, somebody comment below. It's just easy. Like, it's rare different these days, you know. So yeah, it's big on it.
I think is the access is like easy access to whatever you see. You know, it's like, and then people is given to temptation. So if you see somebody a message a person, they give you current, it's like, you know, easy access. So yeah.
The Trinidadian word for infidelity is horn, right? So that's the definition. That's the basic definition. You're getting a horn, and that came about from the colloquial slang of you getting a butt, meaning somebody else is doing something with your partner other than you. So I guess it might have been a slang at one time, and it transformed into from a butt to horn, and horn meaning the horn on a bull. I guess it's not the horn on a car. So yes, we have developed that word over a period of time, and just like how we use the word lime, which is not the fruit, to enjoy ourselves, and a lot of Caribbean countries has picked up that word, and people who visit Trinidad always say they like to go liming, so they understand what liming is all about. It's the same thing. They wouldn't say they're going to go about horning, but they understand what horning is all about. If you look at the behavior of individuals from a sexologist point of view, you understand there are many reasons why the person will step out of their relationship, and they will step out of their relationship to satisfy a need that they have within themselves. This relationship starts off with a lie, right? Because you want to portray yourself in a particular way to your partner. You pull up to pick up a girl to go on a date, pull up to pick up a guy to go on a date, and you come with your partner car, but you say, nice yours. So it's a lie, right? The shirt you wear on might be something you borrow from someone. It's a lie. And you're telling the person the lie. So if you're honest, truthful, and straightforward, you don't have to worry about that. So that's why if you tell a person about your sexuality and what you like and what you like to do. So how many guys are bisexual and they're married, but they're afraid to tell their wife they're bisexual? You know how many guys? You will be surprised the statistics that I have. I knew guys that I grew up with, right? Who, when they found out who I was in terms of my profession, came to me and said, Raj, you know, I always like guys, you know. But I'm married, I'm a Catholic. I have to marry. Right? But what turns them on is a guy. Were you going to judge them for that? That's their sexuality, that's their sexual being. So if you're honest enough about the things that you're doing, and I know I deviate from the topic here. So let's say, for example, you do like to have multiple sexual partners. Sometimes you'll try to encourage your spouse to go to a swingers club or to swap partners and whatnot. And he or she may not be into that, but that's what you like. So you will start living a lie because that's a secretive part of your life. Many of us live a secretive part here and physically. But if you can't speak to your spouse and tell him or her of your likes and dislikes and get them to understand how you are and how you're made up and what you are about, maybe you'll start understanding them differently also, and you wouldn't put them down for the things that they like. And that's an important factor.
For those of us who we call ourselves the boom generation, and it becomes a completely different thing when I look at the students now, the millennials and beyond. So I think it's very important that we recognize time. I think it's important that we recognize the way in which the economics and our class existence shapes that. Race, geography, all those things shape that. So then when you ask me about infidelity in Trinidad, infidelity on the corridor is not infidelity in DB. And so I think it's really important that anytime we start these conversations, we have to really narrow in, particularly when we think about gender, we're really narrowing in on the diversity of experiences. But let me get to the question you're really asking. You're asking me really, and I could say that my grandmother would have experienced infidelity completely differently than say, and her response too, because it's not just the experience of, it is also the response to. And I think that is really important. Because when you think about infidelity, one part of it is the act, but how do I respond? That's a different thing. And how does the couple respond? That's a different thing. Because the perpetrator of the infidelity might respond and we're going on so forth. What's the problem here? Yeah. So, as I said, back in the day, my granny she take her horn and she says, well, this is life. This is what men do. But over time, that changes. That changes. So, the economics of her existence are completely different, the same lives of her children. And you begin to see shifts. You begin to see also a different kind of expectation. So, my grandfather might have been the perpetrator. Yeah? But my father and my mother might have a different engagement. And that is when we begin to see things like my choice to stay, my choice not to stay. Granny didn't really have a choice because the economics of her existence was dependent. And the difficulty would have been, how do you manage? And that is always a question. How do you manage a response that allows you to hold on to your parts of yourself, hold on to your responsibilities and be able to live your life?
Like, we need to depend on a man anymore. That used to be a thing back when, but now it's like we could work, we could go to school, we could run our own homes. Like, we don't need men to help us anymore. So for sure, people are gonna, like, once it happens, and they're just like, okay, no, like, I'm not doing this again. So yeah, we will feel liberated to just be on our own rather than be in a relationship until we could actually fully trust somebody.
Yeah, I think women being independent have a lot to do with that. And probably not women who are independent alone too, but now I think it's more like a kind of more embarrassing for a woman to, well, how to say it? The embarrassment for the woman and them more out there. It's not like, all right, because her friends and them may say, like, you know, you taking that kind of thing, whereas long time, probably like in my grandmother days, women would have more like, you know, that is your husband, what you gonna do, you have to take that, or, you know, that's just how men are. Whereas now, women more like, you know, you ain't had to really take that, you're working for your own money, your thing. But besides that, it have like housewives out there too, just not taking that.
And sometimes it is acceptable within the culture. And I'll give you an example. If you ask most persons who are over 70, over 60 years of age. They will tell you about their grandfather or their grandparents having outside set of children. And that's common whether you're African Trinidadian, Indo-Trinidadian. It's something that is known. You always have a stepbrother somewhere or a stepsister, or a half-brother or a half-sister somewhere. And it permeates all segments of society, all race, all religion. It's something that you're seeing. If you dig deep enough, you can see that, you can find that out.
Women use different kinds of techniques to, let's say, ease the pressures of enslavement during enslaved conditions. And it was known that the black woman was very good at playing one white lover over the other for survival. And, there is a suggestion that sometimes that was a way to resist enslavement and to make sure that the whites fought against each other. Very clever. Very clever. However, one has to be careful about generalizing and perhaps trying to get some specifics at times to address something as significant as that. The fact that you are not allowed to have a family in the true sense, as you know it, as an extended family. The fact that you're torn apart, right? The fact that you make children with women and you're not there to rear them as a family, as you know it. Okay? The fact that, you are moving from person to person on a plantation, because that is the way on the plantation, even if it is known secretly that you belong to somebody, right? Sets up a kind of stew, a situation whereby it would seem that that kind of promiscuity was normal and proper. But it's possible that the plantation may have driven it based on the conditions that I described before. The fact that you also see it in another way. You might be forced to have one woman on the plantation, but you're seeing the white master having 10. And you're questioning that. Massa, how come I could only have one and you have 10? So the conditions on the plantation, dynamic as they are, right, set up a situation whereby certain kinds of conduct became the norm, became normal, but may not have actually defined the people who, started to do those things across time. Carnival then sets the perfect stage to surge. You look left, you look right, people are gyrating. In other words, it depending on the eroticism of the moment, it turns people on. Hence, farewell to the flesh. Okay? Right? And the surge to be around and the need to be in the flesh. And with alcohol and other types of items to loosen you up, right? People become a little more tenacious, a little more communal, and things can happen. As a matter of fact, there used to be a saying before that men would go with girls, and Ash Wednesday, they will see them at the bank, prim and proper, right? Behavior that would have never taken place otherwise, right? So Carnival is that perfect environment for us. It's actually a very important release for us in Trinidad. And to some people, Ash Wednesday is the first day of the year. Trinidadians need this explosion. It's like the grand orgasm to live.
Trinidad Carnival is a very unique entity. Trinidad Carnival comes with we're a highly sexualized country to begin with. We are a people who our language, our music, our rhythm could be very much branded as very sexualized. Carnival, however, brings this additional layer. And the layer could be, for me, I spend time looking at the way in which our population shifts during Carnival. Of particular interest is the populations or are the populations that come just for the mass. So our country and returning nationals, and they come with a particular expectation and energy. And the carnival of this little 1.3 million of us, the carnival swells the population. But there's also that the population, the expectation, and the opportunity, to me, are very pivotal to how we experience carnival. So we are also socializing more. We have a lot more fats going on. We have a lot more lines going on. And everything is about that social interaction, that energy around who we are. So think about us sexualized on to the nth degree. I think that's carnival.
It's mixed up. It's all part and parcel of who we are. You find that things that are not acceptable in one country is acceptable in Trinidad because of our openness of our society. And at one time, Trinidad and Tobago had the most open, liberal society in the Caribbean. And you could get it from the music, you could get it from the behavior of the people.
This is not the end of the story. Horning might start with betrayal, but it doesn't have to end with shame. In this place, we wear silence like tradition. We joke about horn because it's easier than feeling it. But beneath every laugh, there's a legacy of women who swallowed pain, of men who hid theirs.